Well, good afternoon. I am apologetic for the delay in time, but it was for a worthy purpose. I just came from St. Patrick's Cathedral, where I shared in the grief of not just the 8.2 million New York City residents, but also 20 million people from the state of New York. It's been a heartbreaking day, and I wanted to stay and show my respect as the procession left with the mayor and the chief of police and the commissioner. So that delayed us a little bit, but thank you for coming here today, and just continue to keep them in our prayers, and all those who are on the front lines protecting our safety. It's incredible to realize what they are willing to do every single day to make sure that New Yorkers are protected and safe, and for them we are eternally grateful, and our hearts go out to the families of Officer Rivera, who we had his final call today, as well as the funeral we're going to be attending next Wednesday, Officer Mora. So it's a difficult day for all of New York. And also, we have a little bit of challenge before us. I just told the county executive, I said, what's with Suffolk? I thought Buffalo had the most unusual weather patterns, and it seems like you're always on the front lines lately. So it's fascinating, and those who love to study weather, like my commissioner here, this is an exciting time for you. Commissioner Braid, our Commissioner of Homeland Security and Emergency Services, was once the chief of staff of the National Weather Service in Washington. So she gets very excited on days like this. So unlike the rest of us who dread it, she looks forward to it. So we're going to look at some numbers on the storm, and I want to make sure you have a full briefing on what we're doing in anticipation of the storm, because storms can be devastating, they can be deadly, they can be dangerous. And we are on call right now with the warning we've seen coming up the East Coast and this confluence of an incredible storm. It's calling us to be prepared. And I want you to see what preparation looks and feels like. And you'll hear from the people who are on the front lines. And I want to thank the members of the DOT who are here and the others who will be out there driving the plows and really putting themselves in harm's way to make sure that we can get home from our commutes, make sure we can get home to our families. And I'm going to ask everybody to do their part in helping keep our roads clear this evening. So I am joined by Commissioner Jackie Bray, our commissioner, as I just identified her. Marie-Therese Dominguez, Commissioner of Department of Transportation. We've been at events like this from Buffalo to Albany here in Suffolk County, so she is a seasoned pro. Feel very comfortable with her leadership. And Jan Oliver, because we're going to be talking about the impact on the MTA, newly named the permanent, the no longer acting, but the chair and CEO of the Metropolitan Transit Authority. Also, we have Patrick Ng, who's the president of the MTA Long Island Railroad, which is an important lifeline for our commuters here on Long Island, so he'll be joining. He's here as well. And Steve Malone, our county executive, who you'll be hearing from about the county's preparation. So let's take a look at what we're doing here. These are the maps we wake up and dread when we see them in the morning news. The orange is the blizzard warning, so there you go. It's coming our way. We've not seen any deviation from what we're seeing here. Sometimes you hope that it goes further out east and actually dissipates over the ocean, but I don't foresee that tonight. So what we're expecting is hopeful that doesn't really hit during the commute this evening. We're tracking the timing of this, but we do believe that the highest totals will be coming tomorrow, which is actually, given that it's a Saturday morning, it's very good, given that it could have happened during prime commuting hours tonight or even this morning. But the point is, we're on notice, and so there's no excuses. People should not be on the roads unnecessarily, and we have that evidence right here. So we have been upgrading this blizzard warning. Suffolk County is under a blizzard warning right now, and the storm effect is in effect now from till 7 o'clock Saturday, and then it gets even worse. Here it's going to be Nassau, New York City, Westchester, Putnam, and Rockland County. So that's what we're looking at. And we think Long Island's going to be one of the hardest hit. So 10 to 16 inches across Long Island, and it's also comes down. If that happens over a course of a few days, you can handle it. That happens in a few hours, 1 to 2 to 3 inches an hour, that's when it becomes very treacherous. So we could end up with anywhere from 6 inches to 2 feet, but it's also the wind. Take it from someone who lives on the shores of Lake Erie during winter blizzard. It is all about the wind factor. It affects visibility. It is dangerous to be on roads when you can't see the vehicles around you, and common sense has to prevail here, and I'm asking people to take heed of those warnings. We'll have sustained winds of 25 to 35 miles an hour with gusts, and this is what really gets dangerous, when it's a complete whiteout condition, and you do not want to be in your vehicle with your kids in the back seat and go off the road during those conditions, and that's what can happen. So 50 to 50-mile-an-hour winds. We do not want to see the circumstance we saw in the Washington, D.C. area. Everybody was glued to their television watching the 30-some-hour episode where people are stranded in their vehicles, and that, my friends, is totally avoidable, and that's what we're talking about here right now, and the preparation we need to have. New York City and the lower Hudson Valley are getting slightly lower predictions, but they're still going to get a good amount of snow, so we're preparing those areas as well, and they'll be getting lesser amounts through the next day. So these regions, northern region, minimal snow, but they'll be very cold. Also, that cold is dangerous. It can be bitter, it can be dangerous, especially if you're in a vehicle, you go off the road or you're stuck in traffic and your gas is low. Make sure you fill up your gas tanks. Your gas is low and all of a sudden you don't have any heat in the vehicle and your kids are hungry. Believe me, I speak as someone from experience, I've been there. It is not a good experience at all. So watch out for the wind chill factor as well. So that's really significant. So heavy snow, gusty winds, difficult road conditions. So yes, I feel like a weather person today, and but I'm willing to turn it over to our experts in a couple of minutes. But here's what I'm asking New Yorkers. Just stay off the roads. Get through your workday today. Fill up the gas tanks on your way home. Make sure you've got all the necessary items in your vehicle. You got to have the scrapers. You got to have extra gloves. You got to have some blankets, have some water in your vehicles. And we all should be prepared for this. But the best way to handle this is stay home. Famous mayor of Buffalo once said how to handle the blizzard: sit home with a 6-pack of beer and wait it out. So, you could have a nice bottle of Long Island wine. I don't care what your preference is here, but stay home, everybody. So we've been preparing for this since Wednesday. I feel we're as ready as we can be, but there's a lot of other dynamics at play here, including our utilities, the salting, getting our crews out, bringing people from other parts of the state to be ready, positioned in our key areas that have been identified already, and that's what I'm going to turn it over right now to all the individuals I've mentioned. Let's hear first of all from Commissioner Bray on her preparations, then we'll hear from Commissioner Dominguez, Chairman Lieber, and so you'll have up to the minute information on what we're doing, but it's all in the hands of how we're willing to handle this. If we are staying home, you'll be safe. You're on the roads. It is wildly unpredictable starting this evening and certainly through the night and into tomorrow. So we're on notice. Everybody get home safely tonight, and we'll get back and talk about our COVID report in a couple of minutes. Commissioner Bray.
Thank you, Governor. So as the Governor said, we've been preparing since Wednesday. Our State Emergency Operations Center is activated. We're engaged with the National Weather Service on a near hourly basis at this point, and with all of our partner agencies. Our downstate stockpiles will open early morning, Saturday morning, to support any local government requests for needs, pumps, chainsaws, generators, or anything else they need. Both DOT and state police have moved personnel down to Long Island. Commissioner Dominguez will speak to DOT, but the state police will increase patrols, particularly on Long Island's roads. The thruways got over 360 plows deployed, 11 tow plows and 67 large loaders here ready for the storm. Statewide, we've got over 5,500 utility workers ready to respond, of which 1,300 are here and additional are here downstate. Additional utility workers are staging in Westchester and the Bronx tonight to surge as needed. Our Long Island State Parks, as a precaution, will close tomorrow, and our parks and our DEC teams have cut and toss crews ready to go in the event of downed trees. Port Authority is expected to implement speed restrictions, so be on the lookout for that for our bridges and our roadways leading to our crossings. And just want to reiterate the Governor's message to stay off the roads if you don't have to be out there after about 8 p.m. tonight. We really want you home through the day on Saturday. Our Office of Emergency Management has been in touch with every county emergency manager in the affected region over the last 24 hours, and will stay in touch to respond as needed over the course of the storm. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Dominguez will speak now to DOT assets.
Thank you. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Governor Hochul. Always appreciate your leadership as we prepare for a snow event like the one we're about to face here. The Department of Transportation has been not only closely monitoring, but partnering with all of the state agencies, dishes to be included, but especially here on Long Island with our local partners, because we really do believe that this is going to be the epicenter of a lot that happens with regard to this storm. DOT forces will be out in force, clearing the roads, and we're ready to take on whatever Mother Nature sends our way over the next 24 or 48 hours. Tonight, the department is going to be planning to issue an advisory speed of 45 miles per hour on the Long Island Expressway and all the parkways here on the island. And we're also going to restrict trucks to the right lane only on the LIE. We do this for safety reasons. It's really important. So please, abide by the speed limit. These advisory speeds will be supported by our variable message signs, which you see across all of our roads and our parkways. And they're only going to be lifted when we believe that it's safe to do so. I personally have packed my bag. I'm going to be here to ride out the storm, along with our crews here who do an excellent job. So in addition to the more than 360 Department of Transportation supervisors and operators who are located here on Long Island, we have the following assets at our disposal. We've got about 252 large plow trucks, 16 medium duty trucks, 37 large loaders, a tow plow, and 2 snow blowers. And these aren't your average snow blowers, they're massive. So I just wanted to clarify that. We're also bringing an additional 94 personnel from DOT from across the entire state. We're bringing folks in from the Mohawk Valley, from the Finger Lakes, from the Southern Tier, about 94 in total, to make sure that we are adding to our great capability here in Long Island, and that includes 70 additional plow operators, 10 supervisors, 6 signal technicians to make sure that we're addressing any outages, 4 mechanics, and as well as 3 assistant resident engineers and a safety officer to make sure everybody stays safe. We've got tow trucks that will be strategically placed across the island in Syosset, Riverhead, Medford, Hampton Bays, Central Islip, Melville, and North Merrick. We would do that so that if there's a crash, we can clear it quickly and make sure that people are able to traverse safely. If additional crews are needed, we're ready to deploy. We've got the capacity, and we'll pull them in from across the state. We're also, as Commissioner Bray said, we've also got chipper and tree crews ready on standby in the event that there's any downed trees, or we've obviously got some high winds coming. We're making sure that we're ready to go. DOT will remain staffed 24/7 for all of our operations throughout the duration of this event, as well as afterwards, so that if there's any cleanup that needs to be done in partnership with the localities, we will make sure that we do that. Our fleet mechanics are ready to go. We've staffed all of these residencies. These buildings that you see here are full of people that really make our operational capability happen. They're ready to perform any repairs that need to take place, but we're going to be on it. New York has some of the harshest winters, as we know, in the country, and DOT employs some of the most elite snow fighting teams in the entire nation. So we're really, really grateful for their efforts. They're dedicated professionals, they know what they're doing, and they're up to the operational challenge that's ahead of us. We prepare for storms like this all year round, and we'll be out there helping maintain our roadways and keeping them safe. I want to take one moment, a very important moment, and talk a little bit about safety, because this is a serious storm. As the governor said, the best thing you can do is stay home. Please stay off the roads starting this evening. Stay off the roadways. It's the best way that we can do our job, clearing the roads, and you can stay safe. If you have to be out, please drive slowly. But again, if you can, avoid travel if at all possible. Our plow operators are going to work around the clock until all the roads are clear and they're safe for everybody. But keep in mind, our plows go about 35 miles an hour, and it takes 1 to 2 hours for them to do an entire beat of everything that they've got to cover. So if you see a plow on the road and it's in front of you, don't try and go in front of the plow. Please, there's dangerous conditions. They're plowing snow, they're plowing ice. There's hazardous conditions in front of them. Give them the space to do their jobs. Don't crowd the plow, all right? It keeps the plow operator safe, keeps you and your vehicle safe. Again, please, everybody stay safe. We're ready to go. Governor, thank you very much for your support and your leadership. We greatly appreciate it. Governor Hochul, there's nobody that knows snow like Governor Hochul. Let me take a moment and introduce my colleague, Jano Lieber, the Chairman and CEO of MTA.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think that the Commissioner just alluded to the fact that we have a governor who's from a pretty snowy part of the state. Governor and I got to know each other in weather emergencies and operational emergencies early in her governorship. And I can tell you, as I said then, we are fortunate to have a governor who's not only a state official and a federal official in her career, but also a local official, because she does get it, and we all benefit in these dangerous situations from that. I have to start with a shout out to the incredible MTA workforce, because a lot of them are coming back to work for the weekend, and they are going to be all out, whether it's in the city, in Westchester, in the northern suburbs, or here on Long Island. So thank you to them. We've been preparing for this storm for days, and there are, in these circumstances, a whole set of protocols and procedures that we follow, and we are implementing them. This is not our first rodeo. Our personnel and our equipment are ready to go so that service can continue safely to the extent that it can, and that when we if we do have a shutdown, and we're likely to have a shutdown tonight on the Long Island Railroad, so be prepared for that, that we can restore service as quickly as possible. Our goal is to get everybody safely through the weekend and then restore morning rush hour service on Monday. That is obviously a centerpiece of our strategy. But the key is, through the weekend, as the governor said, as the commissioner says, if you can avoid travel, please avoid, do so. Avoid unnecessary travel, and if you have to travel, please exercise extreme caution. The Long Island Railroad, as I said, is about to take what is sure to be the biggest hit this weekend of the MTA properties and MTA operations. We are preparing to suspend service early tomorrow morning during the worst of the storm, which could drop 2 inches of snow per hour. So that we're, just so you know, in the middle of the night sometime, we're going to be suspending service, and there's probably not going to be service as of tomorrow morning. My colleague Phil Eng is here to explain more if need be. We do have all of our snow fighting trains and tow trucks and de-icers ready to go, just as we do on the subways in the city and on Metro North in the northern suburbs, to protect the tracks, the switches, and, as I said, to put us in a position to restore service promptly. We're bringing in hundreds of personnel. They're already at work sanding and salting platforms and getting all the other facilities, walkways, driveways, parking lots ready as well. Metro North, and I'm going to cover that as well, is expected to see less of an impact. They are going to an hourly snow emergency type level of service on the 3 main lines, but we are suspending all service between Southeast and Wassaic in the northern reaches of the Harlem line. And in Connecticut, there are going to be suspensions. There's discussions with the state of Connecticut, but our expectation is that there are going to be suspensions on the New Haven lines, New Canaan, Danbury, and Waterbury branches as well. And Amtrak, in case it hasn't been made clear, has suspended all of their service to the north of New York City. As snow levels increase, customers can expect to see impacts to the bus, paratransit, and subway operations as well, particularly as the roads become impassable in the city. The underground portions of the subway line, and there are 220 miles of it, The outdoor portions of the subway line, the outdoor portions of the subway line are likely to take some hits. We are not now officially suspending service or anticipating it, but we are prepared to protect the conditions on that and anticipate there could be impacts. The impacts on the buses and the paratransit system depend on road conditions and total accumulation, which will affect how quickly our friends at New York City Department of Sanitation can do their work. But I'll tell you, we've already suspended the use of articulated buses, which obviously have maneuvering issues in this kind of conditions, and all of the other buses in New York City are being wheel changed. We'll be closely monitoring the conditions Saturday and Sunday to see, again, we're trying to maximize service, but we're prepared to suspend or reduce service wherever necessary. On the bridges and tunnels, and the Commissioner referred to some of it, we've got 10,000 tons of roadway de-icer and 115 pieces of equipment. Those are for the MTA bridges and tunnels. Roadway sensors in the MTA district are going to be giving us real-time updates on conditions which could impact on our decisions about closures. So there's going to be a soft ban on empty tractors and trailers and tandem vehicles on the MTA bridges in anticipation of the wind conditions. And there's going to be plenty of signing and messaging on the highways to let motorists know what to expect. We work closely with all the other agencies who do the operations statewide. So for the latest updates across all of our modes, the MTA modes that is, check the MTA website and especially the MTA apps, which have very accurate real-time information, My MTA, the LIRR train time app, and the MNR, Metro North train time app, and use the social media channels. So with that, it's my pleasure to turn it over to my friend, the County Executive of Suffolk, Steve Belen.
Thank you very much, Jano. I appreciate it. And I want to first start by thanking the governor and her entire emergency management team. The governor mentioned the events, the weather events that we seem to have frequently here. And what is always the case whenever any of these come up, I can always expect to see her name pop up on my phone because she's calling to check in to see what we need and if there are any resources that are required from the state. And we appreciate the partnership with Governor Hochul and her team across a range of issues. But particularly during these events, my entire emergency management team is here as well. The only person who is not here today is our police commissioner, Rodney Harrison. Like the governor, he was attending the funeral today for Officer Rivera. Commissioner Harrison, who just came over to lead our department, was the chief of department for the NYPD. And Officer Rivera came on as he was chief. And I know this is a very difficult day for him. It's a difficult day for all of New York. And I can say all of us out here in Suffolk County are devastated by this loss. We are all thinking about our friends and colleagues in the NYPD, so many of whom are out here in Suffolk County. And we will keep Officer Rivera's family and loved one in our prayers, and just say thank you to all of the law enforcement officers out there who are working every day to keep us safe. So in Suffolk County today, we are preparing for a blizzard. This is likely to be one of the most significant storms we have seen over the last several years here. As the governor mentioned, you've heard other emergency management officials, we're looking at up to 18 inches here, but depending on where the bands go, we could see 2 feet in certain areas. And we know, as we have seen many times in the past with these storms, they shift. And a lot of times they shift for the worst. So we are preparing for the worst here. Our crews are ready. We have the materials, the salt, sand, about 18,000 tons ready to go. We have close to 200 vehicles that are prepared to be out on the roadways. I think the timing of this storm, obviously, timing of storms is always critical. The fact that it is pushed back, it is going to be past commuting time on a Friday night into Saturday, that's good timing. In terms of good news, that's pretty much it with this storm. We are looking at high accumulations, high winds, and then subsequent to the snowfall, very, very low temperatures. So as we talk about clearing this out, this becomes a difficult challenge as you get down to smaller roads, particularly in our local partners. And that's why the partnership with the state and working together across municipal lines and levels of government is so critical in a storm like this, where you have a long-term event and you can be certain, because of the conditions, that the cleanup is going to take some time on a storm like this. Everybody's intent is going to be to get us ready and prepared for the morning commute on Monday, but people should obviously be paying close attention to what's happening because of the conditions of this storm that we're expecting, both the intensity of it, the amount of accumulation, and the fact that we will have freezing temperatures over the next couple of days following this storm. We are going to be closing Smith Point Bridge 4 p.m. today. Suffolk Transit will be canceled for tomorrow. People should monitor. We will get that back up and running as quickly as possible, but it will be based on conditions. Right now, we have teams from our Department of Social Services who will be out looking to take the homeless off the street to provide shelter. Those who may be out there, we have the teams out there, because the temperatures that we are looking at, they are dangerous, they are life-threatening for people who are out in these conditions. We also had a tornado, speaking of strange weather events out here, around Thanksgiving, that ripped off the roof of one of our main facility for salt on the East End, and the East End is going to be hit the hardest, it appears, here. We have a temporary location. Commissioner Joe Brown has that set up, so we will be able to deliver the needs with salt and sand out there on the East End as we get hit with this very difficult storm. If anyone has issues with heating this weekend, given these temperatures, call 311 right away if you have any storm-related issues that are not an emergency. And if your heat is going out, that is going to quickly become an emergency in these temperatures. So call 311 and we will work to provide assistance as quickly as possible. The last thing I'll say, and you've heard all of the speakers say before, there is no reason to be out on the roads on Saturday as this storm is hitting. We are expecting blind out conditions during the overnight hours. This is going to be very difficult for the plow operators to be working out there. If you are out on the roadway, you are making their job more difficult and more dangerous. Unless you are an emergency worker or working in a hospital, unless you are a worker like that, that absolutely has to be someplace. Stay off the roads. This is a very serious storm. It is going to be difficult to clear, and if you're out on the roadway, either interfering with plow operators or getting stuck. I cannot tell you how many storms I've been through where I've pulled off on the side of the road with our truck to help motorists who are stranded, who are in cars, who should not be out on the road driving in those conditions, but they get stranded, and then they're blocking the plows and they're taking up the time of emergency service operators. So please stay off the roads. Good day, good weekend to watch some movies, relax, stay at home. I wish I could do that, but I will be out with our crews and our teams. But please do that so that we can get these roads cleared as quickly as possible. And again, thank you to the governor for her partnership and her leadership during storm events like this.
Thank you, County Executive. It is great to have partners on the ground like you. I'm a former county official myself, so I understand what it's like and how you're always waiting for help from the state. And I want you to know that the cavalry has arrived. We're right here to partner with you and your incredible county teams and highway crews. Whatever you need, we are there for you. But in light of everything you've heard from these experts, that is why I'm taking the step at this time to announce that beginning 8 p.m. tonight, we'll be under a state of emergency. And what that does is it gives us the extraordinary powers that we may need for additional purchasing of equipment or transferring individuals, personnel. So just so everyone knows, that's how seriously we're taking it. 8 p.m. tonight, state of emergency here in the state of New York. And again, we are encouraging everyone to stay off the roads once the snow starts this evening and absolutely tomorrow, because otherwise you are complicating life for those who are out there trying to make your life easier. So let's give them the room they need to do their jobs and make sure that we don't have anyone stranded. So as we talk about one storm, let's head into the next storm, and that is our Omicron storm, our winter surge that we kept talking about it. And I think the winter snow clouds of Omicron are starting to part. That is a very good sign. Our statewide cases went down about 13,592 to be exact. And that is down from January 7th, not that long ago. Look how high it was, 90,000 cases. Long Island still has about 1,700 new cases yesterday, so we're keeping an eye on those numbers as well. But that is the trend we've been waiting for. It is arriving, and I could not be happier to report this news. Our 7-day average is going down as well. Statewide, it's about 6.15%. Long Island, a little bit higher than the statewide average, about a 7.4%. But overall, again, this continues to drop as well, our positivity rate. We've always watched our hospitalizations, and luckily those are dropping from our high of 12,600 people hospitalized at the same time, and what a stress that put on our hospitals throughout this state. And yesterday we were down to 8,100, so we've dropped significantly, more than 2,800 over the past week. But this is all a lagging indicator. We talk about infections start, you see the numbers spike there, people get sick, then hospitalizations, and sadly, we still see far too many deaths. And yesterday we lost 171 fellow New Yorkers because of this pandemic, and I want to make sure that we're remembering them, but also that is a reminder to take this seriously until we are clearly out of this storm. And that is why, as we talk about this, we didn't know at the time when we put in our mask or vaccine requirement to protect people as this Omicron surge was spiking and it was spiraling out of control in the month of December. We could not have foreseen what January and February would look like. We still don't know much beyond where we are right now, but again, the trend is much more positive, and that is why I want to talk about the fact that we'll have a temporary extension of our business mask or vaccine policy, and that has been a critical tool in driving those numbers down. They could be even more out of control, but we're going to continue doing this not by month, not by 3 months. We're going to do it every 2 weeks now, so we can be ready to suspend, give businesses the notice they've been waiting for. But again, I want to thank all the businesses and the people who followed these policies. You are the reason our state is going to come out of this far sooner than other states. The numbers are still going up in other states, and we've been smart here. I thank the people, I thank the counties for their partnership. So we'll be extending that just through February 10th. Again, probably a couple days before that, we'll be evaluating, but if we continue on this rapid trend downward, we'll be in a good place. If it levels off or something else happens, I need that flexibility, and I'm going to continue to reserve that, but also people are waiting to hear when some of these restrictions can be lifted, and so we're going to continue with our flexibility. As we know, the school masking policy remains in effect, despite the fact that there was a little blip, but we are back on track legally, and I want to thank our Attorney General, Letitia James, and her incredible team for understanding the urgency of us appealing a decision that came forth based on factors that we don't agree with. We happen to think that the Commissioner of Health and the Department of Health have a responsibility to protect public health. That is why they do what they do, and we're going to continue to defend that in court. So the appellate decision, the second department, sided with us and let common sense prevail. So now we are back into ensuring that these are in place, again, for now. And the only reason we have this is because this is how we can keep our schools open. When our schools are open and kids are safe there, moms and dads can get back to work. We can start that path to being normal, and there'll come a time we can talk about lifting this as well. We're just not there yet. We're going to continue keeping people safe and fighting to protect all New Yorkers. So just want to give those notices of what the lay of the land here is in the state of New York. And also, let's continue to wear the masks, the ones that really make a difference, the N95s. And President Biden is sending about 400 million, that's an extraordinary number, making those available. So they're free. You can get 3 of them at a time. And they're going to be available at every place, the retail pharmacies and stores where they're offering vaccinations right now here in the state. So if you're looking for a place to get your free, heavy-duty, very efficient mask, go to vaccines.gov, and it'll show you where to get those. And I want to thank President Biden for making those available to New Yorkers. So check on that. But again, if I saw higher vaccination rates as well, I would sleep better at night. But our children and many people who are still vulnerable, all they have to do is show up, roll up their sleeve and get that shot, get the booster, and they're ready to roll, and they can handle whatever comes next. As we've seen, people who are vaxxed and boosted did not end up in the hospitals with Omicron. They may have had symptoms, stayed home for the 5 days if they tested positive, but our hospitalizations are still, vast majority are people who are unvaccinated, and our kids are going to be sick if we don't get them vaccinated, so let's make sure that that happens as well. Let's give all the kids the protection they need to be able to stay in school and stay safe. So that is what I wanted to offer in terms of our forecast for the storm, our forecast for COVID. One's looking rather treacherous, one's improving, so at some point we'll say the storms are gone in both fronts, and I look forward to that day very much. Again, I want to thank everybody who's here. These men and women who look nice and warm and comfortable right now, they're willing to go out there. They'll be on the streets. Please protect their safety as well. What they do simply for you. So let's give them the regard that they do. And with that, I'll take any questions, and then otherwise we'll head back to the city and get ready for the storm.
You said the cavalry is here. That's clear. In spite of that fact, what's your greatest concern as we head into this storm in the next, say, 36 hours?
People getting stranded on roads. Absolutely, people getting stranded on roads. The snow will fall. I mean, I lived in a house at one time when the snow piled up over the course of 2 days, 7 feet. That's taller than I am. So, okay, up here, we could not open our back door, could not get food, could not get water, could not get heat. But I knew I was safer in that home than I was out on the highways where there was zero visibility. That is dangerous. And for people who are not as accustomed, they think, well, I'll just run to the store. I'll just run out. I'm just going to pick my kids. My kids want to play with their friends. Let me just take them over. Please don't make that calculation. Just stay home. Stock up on your food. Stock up on gas. Stock up on your subscription to Netflix. I can make some great recommendations. I had to do a lot of binging myself over the years. So just stay home. That is what I don't want to see. I don't want to see Long Island or New York State on the national news where everybody's jammed up on a highway, stranded for hours, kids are crying, people are desperate. That happened in Virginia, down where my family lived just a few weeks ago. That's a scenario that we're trying to prevent here. That's my nightmare. Yes?
Off topic, okay?
Sorry?
Off topic, okay?
Oh, who yes, on topic now? Who has a storm question?
How much of a concern are the frigid temperatures in terms of both safety and also the cleanup?
Yeah, and when you talk about frigid temperatures, also what happens is frozen power lines, they come down. Do not touch a line. Do not try to remove it yourself. That is extremely dangerous. We have experts who know how to deal with that. But the freezing temperatures, particularly for people who are housing insecure, are homeless. And I'm glad the county executive mentioned this. These are people who need to be in shelter, starting to go there now. And any help that the county needs to make sure that those shelters are fully staffed, that they have the blankets, they have the food, the water will be there for them as well. So yes, it's fun to dress up warm and play in the snow, but at some point, the wind chills, not just the actual temperature, but you need to calculate the outdoor temperature with the wind, and that gives you the actual real feel on your skin. And there'll be times when it's just too cold to even let your kids go out and play. Keep them warm inside. This is only going to be a weekend. We anticipate getting back to normal after cleanup on Monday. It's not going to be one of those storms that lingers for days and days, which I've experienced before. So that's the good news right now, unless our weather changing at all? Okay. I'm willing to be corrected on that one, but right now it looks like it is a weekend event. There's still football games this week, and I stopped watching last week. So if you want to watch those other teams, I don't really care right now. It's a little hard to talk about. So stay home, watch some football. Watch some Netflix. Make some apple pies. Make some chicken chili while you watch the games. What I usually do. So you just stay home. I'm not making light of it. This is deadly serious, but it doesn't have to be. doesn't have. That's why there's this warning. That's why we're standing here, and that's why I know the mayor's doing his own press conference. We talk about these. We're working with our local partners, so there's no reason why this has to be bad. We're home. They do their jobs on the roads. We're safe, and we talk about this in the past 10 starting Monday. That's what my hope is.
How bad will it start tonight? When will it start being like 1 to 3 inches?
What is our expectation on exactly when that starts?
Yeah, we expect the heaviest snow
right
to
here.
start, we expect that to start between 11 p.m. and 12 a.m. The sort of most intense bands would hit Suffolk. So we expect to see up to 2 inches of snow an hour in some of the hours over the sort of early Saturday morning. I wouldn't be surprised if we even saw 3 inches an hour out in eastern Suffolk.
3 inches an hour is a lot. Doesn't like that's coming down sustained every hour. That is quick. That's very challenging for the plows because they'll go do a route, make it all disappear. They turn around by the time they're done, hour and a half, it's all back again. So that is what we're doing. They're out there salting the roads as well. So stay out of their way. Stay out of their way. Any other on topic?
Going on with stranded cars being a potential concern for you, what is the protocols to shut down some of the parkways and the LIE? What
We're
would
talking about how we're going to shut them. And also, even before you shut them down, we're planning to reduce speeds on them. That's the first step, is reducing speeds. But what goes into our analysis on shutting down? I'll ask the expert, our commissioner of DOT.
So the bottom line is that we continually assess the snowfall rate, how quickly we're able to clear the roads, the conditions, the temperature, et cetera. We work with our partners, local partners here, but we're going to be constantly assessing the condition of the roadways and make the call as soon as we need to make sure that the roads stay open as long as they can, so long as they're safe.
Also ice. We didn't talk about ice. Icy roads are treacherous, and you cannot see the ice under the snow, and that is when someone's going, even a speed limit, they can end up in a ditch. And in more rural areas, they may not be found for some time if they go off in the dark into a ditch when there's heavy snow coming down. That is my fear as well. So people need to be really smart about this travel because you just don't know the conditions of the road. Take it from me. I've traveled more snow and ice covered roads than any elected official in this state, and it is not a fun experience. I want to make sure everyone from Long Island up to New York City, Mid-Hudson area that are exposed right now are safe. So.
Quick question.
Just on a lighter note, Governor, you keep mentioning Netflix, and you have this week, so can you give us your top 2?
I like Billions. I'm watching Billions these days. I always like Mrs. Maisel. I'm trying to wait for that one to start up. I don't know. I won't tell you some of those other ones. I think I'll clean them up a little bit. No, I'm just kidding. But also, I just, it's a fun experience. I mean, I never had time my entire life to sit and watch, like, over a series. So my 30-something-year-old kids are always recommending shows, so I'll take their recommendations as well. But and I like Succession. They're kind of nasty to each other, but it's good. It's kind of entertaining. Yeah.
Just changing gears for a moment, what were your feelings today hearing Officer Rivera's wife, widow, speak about how the criminal justice system has failed her? And what will be your message to Manhattan DA Bragg when you meet with him?
First of all, it was heartbreaking to see the riveting pain that young widow was experiencing. It literally brought me to tears as I was sitting there. And it's still hard to think about what that young woman was going through, her whole life ahead of her, and to lose her sweetheart who had a crush on her since they were just in grade school. So her pain was real, it was searing to hear, and it's going to be enduring for a long time. And we're just going to keep her in our prayers. But I also understand we need to do more to protect public safety. We need alignment with our men and women in uniform because they're out there putting their lives on the line to keep us safe. And yes, we have to protect people's rights and ensure there's fairness and justice in the criminal justice system, and there's been shortcomings, and we need to address them, but these are not mutually exclusive objectives. We have to work with our law enforcement, give them the respect, the resources they need, and so I'll be having a conversation about the desire, my desire to achieve both those objectives simultaneously because I believe they can occur. All right, thank you for coming, everybody. Appreciate it.